All right, everyone, let's talk about a huge quality of life update that we are getting to maps and really what you want to do to prepare for this. What does this mean? Does this mean that you want to end up saving and stockpiling your maps for after when this update comes out? Kind of like I am. You guys can see in my inventory at the bottom there all the maps that I'm stockpiling. But this also might mean that maybe you want to do the opposite. Maybe you actually want to end up running your maps right now, because if there's a lot of other people that are thinking like me and they're stockpiling their maps, this might actually cause a massive crash with prices of materials on the market. So you're going to end up getting less money for your maps. There's two sides to the coin here, and I kind of want to talk about this in a bit of a discussion video and kind of go about what might be the best option for you. So those of you guys that are unaware here, if you actually take a look at the April and the May roadmap, this big quality of life update that we are getting, if you end up scrolling down here into the April update, you'll see in the general updates is this first bullet point right here: improved co-op party play for secret maps. All 4 members can submit a map to get rewards with one run. So basically what this means is right now when you end up running your maps, you kind of have to rely on the trust of your group members, because everybody ends up using their map, and then when they go to their actual individual map, everybody else goes in and they get the rewards, but then you have to go to everybody else's map and make sure that you're not going to get scammed by somebody who leeches other people's maps and then leaves and doesn't run their own map. Also, on top of that, it's very time consuming, right? Because you have to end up going to 4 different maps and you basically have to run it 4 different times. So after this update, it actually alleviates multiple different problems with maps. First of all, it alleviates the scammer problem, because now everybody actually needs to have a map, and it's basically like used as a consumable. You go into one person's map, but everybody actually uses their map, and instead of having to run a map 4 times individually, you just end up getting 4 times the rewards. So if there's somebody who was planning on scamming and not using their map, they won't be able to go into that one original run to begin with, so it solves that problem. But on top of that, it also solves the problem of time. And that's honestly the one for me personally that is the major concern, is maps are just very, very time consuming. It takes a while for everybody to go to their location, to kind of coordinate your group. And unless you end up running or finding a group where you're doing a bunch of maps at the same time, like doing this for every single run individually, it just eats a lot of time on top of having to actually take the time to find all the people to run all of your maps. It's just a whole big hassle. So this is going to really help with that a lot as well. Now let's get into the deeper question here. What does this mean? There's kind of 2 different options here. Do you want to end up using your maps after this update like I am planning on doing, or there's actually some argument on maybe why you want to still end up using your maps right now? And let's talk about that one first, because I definitely think that I'm not the only one that is thinking like this. In fact, I know there's other guildies and other people who I've talked to who have an even bigger map collection than I do. I know this might seem impressive, but this is only like a couple of weeks worth of saving up maps here, and there's people who have a lot more waiting for this update. So what does this mean? Well, if we actually go to the market and we talk about the main thing that, the main material that you end up getting from maps, is going to be all the different types of shard pouches. You've got your Harmony shards for tier 1, you've got your life shards for tier 2, and for tier 3 it's a little different, because yes, you get honor shards, but they also end up giving like your solar graces, your solar blessings, and your solar protections. So if you take a look at the prices right now, they've been relatively stable at these current points. Like I've noticed that Harmony shards have been in the range of about 100 gold for the small pouches, and then life shards have been in the range of about 130, 150, basically like around 50-ish% more or so than the Harmony shards. And if there's a whole lot of people who are going to be doing something similar to me and saving their maps and then using them all after this update, this could end up causing a massive crash for these shard pouches. Now, I will also say though, there's kind of like a counterweight or a counterbalance to this, and that is the new classes. With a new class also being, being released, and I've already seen that certain material prices have started to climb up because of this, there's also the possibility that there's going to be a lot higher demand for these materials. And so even if you have a lot of people who are they're saving their maps for this update, there's also a lot of people who are planning on playing the new class, which is going to cause more demand for the pouches. So you have more demand with people playing the new class, but you also have more supply with people possibly saving their maps. So I'm personally, and this is just me, you don't have to go with the same option as me or the same path as me, but me personally, that's kind of my reasoning as to why I'm saving my maps is because I do feel like there's a lot of other people doing the same thing as me, but I also feel like there's going to be a lot of demand for these materials with the new class release, to the point where I think that with the time saved and the scammer issue as well, you don't have to deal with that either. I think that overall it's going to be more of a benefit to end up saving your maps. So let's talk about that. You don't have to deal with scammers at all after this update as well. So this hasn't really been a massive issue for me, but I've talked to some people where it actually has been a pretty big issue, and they've been scammed multiple times, especially on these, these golden maps or these legendary maps. There's a lot of people who, instead of actually like doing a run where everybody takes a legendary map and you all go to everyone's map, just kind of like the normal way, people actually sell their spots, and they're getting scammed on one of these is absolutely brutal with how valuable they are. So I've talked to people who have had lots of issues. Out of the many maps that I've run, I've only actually ran into 2 scammers myself. But if you guys have had a problem with this, that's going to be another major incentive to wait and save your maps and hold on to them until after the actual update. So now, if you guys are wondering how I actually have this big collection of maps in my lower left corner, and I know people who have even more than me, I still recommend that you guys do this. I've mentioned this in videos before in the past, and it is still just as true now as it was before, and that is to consider purchasing your lower tier maps from Vern and even the possibility of Rohendel. And the reason why is because even though these are lower tier maps that only actually give you the Harmony Shard pouches, the cost of these maps is incredibly low compared to the cost of your Punica maps. Yes, Punica maps are going to end up giving you better rewards, and they're going to end up giving you more gold worth of materials, but the cost of the maps is going to be way higher. So if you actually go through and you do a cost breakdown of how many Rift Shards versus how much gold worth of rewards you end up getting from the Vern maps and even the Rohendel maps, they are absolutely worth getting for sure. So I still highly recommend it. And one of the big drawbacks that I saw a lot of people mention when I made those videos is it's more difficult to end up getting the groups to end up running these lower tier maps. And that is true. I still don't have too big of a problem. Usually after Chaos Gates, I could end up getting groups for these without much issue. But hopefully after this update as well, given how much quicker and easier it's going to be in order to go through and run these maps, hopefully it'll make it even easier to end up getting groups for these maps, making the incentive to buy them even higher. So that's how I got the maps that I have in my collection right here. So to end off this video here, I want to take this discussion, take this question, and kind of open it up to you guys. What are your plans? What are you guys doing with your maps? Are you doing something similar to me and saving up your maps and waiting until after this big quality of life update? And if you guys are doing that, how many maps do you have saved? What's your collection looking like? Or are you guys on the other side of the scale where you're still using your maps right now and you guys still think that's the better plan? Maybe you think prices are going to crash so hard after this update that you don't think that it's worth saving them. I'm just kind of curious. I kind of want to know what you guys are doing, and feel free to let me know. I'll be taking a look at the comments quite a bit after this video. So that's going to be about it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a quick like. Consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. This is a bit of a different one, more of a discussion video, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. And feel free to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/salt, where I'll be streaming Lost Ark as well as other games. Thanks again, everyone. Have fun, take care, and until next time.